Welcome back to In Ohio Country today. Big Dan Wilson alongside a bigger Dale Everman. And Dale, I'll tell you, man, you have a great operation here at Homan Inc. Dale's the vice president here. And more importantly, we're talking about Farm Science Review today. Dale, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure, and I appreciate you coming out. Farm Science Review is coming down the pipeline here. It's coming up in a couple days. Stop by the booth at 611. We'll have a lot of our vendors there, whether it's Artex manure spreaders, Bazooka Farm Star manure pumping equipment, GSI dryer. We've got Gay on the lot. So anything material handling, we'll have ventilation from Artex VES. Anything livestock, grain, or solar involved, we'll have it on the lot.
You know, let's talk about some of the newer stuff like that solar energy projects that you're working on. What can they expect to see when they get there? Active, working? What can they expect to see when they come to your booth?
We'll have a lot of vendors. We've got a tent in the center of our booth. I think our booth's 150 by 100. So we've got a big area. We're between swine and soybean on the end of hay. And we'll have quite a few. We'll have a hose reel out there for irrigation. So we've got a little bit of everything on that lot. If you've got a farm that's got animals, or if it's corn related, grain related, we've got a piece of equipment sitting there for you.
You know, getting ready for Farm Science Review. It's a big 3-day event in London, Ohio, of course, and it's one of our favorite places to visit every year. What's it like getting ready for that? I mean, taking the equipment down, there's got to be a lot of people involved and time involved in getting ready for Farm Science Review.
Well, it's in an interesting time of the season. You know, your grain season's coming in, and then fall's coming, so we're trying to get our grain project and stuff buttoned up, but I'm glad we've got a good group of guys here that haul equipment down for us. We'll probably have, I'm going to guess, around 15 pieces of towable equipment down there. So the manure spreaders, the mixers, the manure tanks, the whole 9 yards is going to be down there. So it takes about, I call it a 3 to 4 week process. It's about a week and a half to get everything down there, week for the show, and then about a week and a half to get everything back, depending who's available to get it.
Homan Inc., of course, is right here in beautiful Maria Stein, Ohio. You have a second location in Indiana, and I'm sure you service most of this area, but let's talk about your serviceability since we are a statewide TV show. What areas do you preference as far as serviceability is concerned?
Typically, we're about a 100-mile radius from the office here in Maria Stein, but we've ventured out further. We've got we're working on a dairy project just south of Kalamazoo right now, where we're putting a new 4,500 head dairy in. We do quite a few turkey barns, hog barns, egg packers in this area. So, and we've got a great group of service guys that can work on feed bins, feed lines, packers, anything ventilation as well. So we've got a great group of guys here to support it.
Dale, let's talk about some of the bigger operations that you worked with. There are some big dairy operations that you've worked hand in hand with. Let's talk about some of those livestock producers that you've helped.
Well, the dairy guys always seem to be wanting to get bigger and bigger. So some of these guys say they got to have 25,000 head by 2025. Wow. Well, it's a constantly growing process to get these guys to keep their milking facilities up to snuff, make them big enough to handle the animals they want to have, and as well put the freestall barns and stuff in to keep them up with the numbers.
You know, over the past few years, especially after COVID, a lot of people were dealing with equipment problems. They were dealing with supply problems. I want to know if you guys have recovered from that, and pricing-wise, where you lay as far as your material costs are concerned.
It's an interesting thing. I think there's a combination of material that we're still trying to get in some areas, whether it's gearboxes and stuff. But for the most part, we've recovered. The pricing has come back a little bit, but not much. And our lots are starting to fill up with some more equipment for stock rather than just what's sold.
You know, once again, we talk about this company, the history behind this company, the generations since 1958. Let's talk about the people who are here today and how you plan on growing the business, especially after Farm Science Review.
Well, it's always an interesting thing. We look at our numbers at the end of the year, and depending on how things go, we're going to have a really good year this year. And with the amount of people that we have have here, it's keeps everybody on their toes to keep getting bigger and better. But it's enjoyable to work with the company that we have here.
Yeah, Farm Science Review is a real high-traffic, high-visibility event. and it really gives you guys an opportunity not only to meet your potential customers, but maybe to get some feedback from them. What kind of feedback do you normally get at that event?
Usually we do have a lot of our customers that we have now stop in, always checking in, see how things are going, see what the future's bringing. One of the more enjoyable things I think at that show is running into people that are not in your neck of the woods or in your area, and to see them and go, I didn't realize you guys did that. So it's always nice to be able to just feel the goodness of somebody understanding what your company does and maybe that you can fit in with their what they're doing.
Yeah, the last time we hooked up with you was at the Fort Wayne Farm Show. This outdoor event really gives you an opportunity to showcase some of the bigger pieces of equipment that you offer our producers, right?
Absolutely. You get out there and people, Farm Science Review is a big venue. It's a big layout. So you try to make an impression, and when they walk by, we've got our company logos on all three sides that are facing the roads, so that way they can stop in and look. But it's important to be as visual as possible with the equipment that you got.
Yeah, it's a great event. You don't want to miss it. Let's talk about that location again at this year's Farm Science Review.
We're at booth 611 between soybean and swine on the end of hay. We're going to have a big 52-foot bazooka pump out there this year. Hopefully we're going to get some flags hanging from it so you can see us from a good distance out.
Oh, that'll be great. Looking forward to seeing you there, Dale, as well as all the other members of your crew at this year's Farm Science Review, September 19th, 20th, and 21st, just a couple days away in beautiful London, Ohio. Hope to see you there. For more information about Homan Inc., in case they can't make it out there, where do they go?
www.homaninc.com. Check out our website. It's a great website. It got our used equipment, new equipment on there, so and our phone numbers and addresses as well.
Dale Everman has been our guest from Homan Inc., Vice President here. Dale, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we'll be back with more in Ohio Country today right after this.